Skyrim is one of those games that everyone knows about. Even if you haven't played it, Skyrim is seen as one of the greats of the last decade, and rightfully so. In this video, I'm going to attempt to show and tell you why Skyrim lives up to its reputation, as best as I can. Which is not very good, by the way, just so you know. A good place to start are the graphics, because they're arguably the worst part of Skyrim. Skyrim came out in late 2011, and it definitely looks like it. A lot of the textures look a bit outdated, and even on max settings they don't look that great. So considering what I just said, you'd think that Skyrim is an ugly game, right? But it's not. It's far from it. Skyrim looks amazing. Anywhere you go, you'll never find like that the game looks ugly. And that's due to the amazing scenery that Skyrim has to offer. You can be standing in the middle of nowhere, and wherever you look, the game would still look beautiful. Well, I mean, unless you're standing in a cave looking at a rock wall, because those textures aren't going to be very nice looking, but like outside, the textures are, no, not the textures, but the scenery is very good. And like, it can all be improved with mods. I think Todd Howard would like that. The gameplay is probably one of the best aspects of Skyrim. There is so much stuff to do in Skyrim, and it's impossible for me to describe everything in this one category. So I'm just using this category to tell you that Skyrim has a lot of gameplay, and like, it's good gameplay, not bad gameplay. The quests are my personal favorite gameplay aspect of Skyrim. Skyrim has hundreds of quests, and most of them are great. Some quests aren't as good. Return to your roots. But almost all of them are really solid. Blood on the Ice, Advice in the East, Forbidden Legend, the list goes on and on. Skyrim has so many fun side quests to complete, characters to meet and items to obtain. Some quests can only be completed once per playthrough, but other quests can be completed like multiple times. These quests don't tend to offer as good rewards as the ones that can only be completed once, but I mean, they're still quests, so the rewards on most of the quests are definitely worth the hassle. I mean, some quests offer kinda bad rewards, like 10 gold for destroying a stronghold of 1 billion bandits, but most of them tend to reward you nicely for the effort you put in. But we all know it's about the journey and not the destination. A lot of quests take you to unique locations, where you will meet interesting characters or learn information about the places or its history. By the end of certain quest lines, you're so attached to certain characters that you feel empty afterwards, like kind of like when you finish watching a movie trilogy and you know that the story is over. There's nothing afterwards. Like, sure, you can imagine what happens, but like, there's nothing canon, I guess you could say. Another thing that Skyrim really excels in is the world of Skyrim. While Skyrim doesn't have the biggest map out of any of the open world games, it most likely has the most detailed map. If you care to look, Skyrim's map is filled with different locations to explore, items to collect, and random encounters to experience. If you're one of those, like, 2 people who watched my Dying Light review, you'd know that I gave Dying Light a lot of praise because it allowed you to enter most buildings. Well, Skyrim takes this to the next level. Basically every cavern, Nordic tomb, house, shipwreck, everything can be entered and explored. There are few houses that you can't enter, and I can't really think of any house that you can't enter except for the ones destroyed during the Civil War questline. And forests and other locations are just big piles of nothingness that you have to walk through to get from point A to point B. No. The forests in this game are detailed and alive. They have wildlife, curiosities, and alchemical ingredients. You actually have a reason to explore the vast landscape of Skyrim, and not just fast travel all the time. I kinda touched on this earlier when I was talking about the open world, but I want to further elaborate here. When you walk around in Skyrim, no matter where you are, there will always be ingredients to collect and harvest. Not only are these useful for potions, but they can also help you level up, and they encourage exploration too. Recently I got back to playing Skyrim after a long break, and I've been spending most of my time doing Alchemy. At first I didn't really want to try Alchemy because it seemed kind of boring, confusing, tedious. But after watching a Works video about the most expensive potions, I got kind of interested. So I spent about 20 minutes walking around and filling up my inventory with various ingredients. I collected over 100 ingredients in total, and despite taking 20 minutes, it only felt like it took 3. Because alchemy mixes in exploration, it makes collecting ingredients fun. It's not only about the ingredients, it's about the journey you go on while collecting them as well. Skyrim really nails that atmosphere. When you start a playthrough of Skyrim, it immediately feels like you're there, like you're the Dragonborn. Skyrim isn't just a game, it's a place. A live, living place full of people, full of stories, places to visit and creatures to kill. There's so many things that I can mention, and I can't really fit everything into one category. One of the things that makes Skyrim feel alive is the NPCs, and the number of them. The amount of dialogue that they have. Many open world games fail to make the world alive. That is because there's a lack of NPCs, or a lack of dialogue. Skyrim has both. Lots of NPCs, and they all have dialogue. Some in-game worlds feel shallow and lifeless, because the NPCs just stand around doing nothing. GTA, no. But Skyrim's NPCs have jobs, backstories, and relations with other NPCs. Bethesda really spent a lot of time making the NPCs feel like real people that could exist, like in our world. There is so much I could say about Skyrim. I could probably make this video like an hour, but I think I've gotten my point across decently. I don't want to spend more time on this review. Everybody already knows that Skyrim is an amazing game. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, which you didn't, I mean nobody enjoyed this video, I didn't even enjoy making it. It's kind of tedious to write scripts, but like, the videos will become shit if you don't, so give this video a dislike, please. It helps me feed my family of 15. And I'll see you all in my next review or video or whatever it will be. Bye, I'm gonna go to my son's grave now. I can't.